You have never heard anything like this before. What Pope Leo XIV just said has sent shockwaves through the entire Catholic world, and it's not just whispers or rumors. This is real. This is happening now. Millions of Catholics everywhere are reeling, confused, hopeful, scared, and inspired all at once. The Pope's message is shaking the very core of the Church's identity, calling into question traditions that have stood unchallenged for centuries. What he revealed is so bold, so raw, so unexpected, that even the most devoted believers are struggling to find the words to describe it. In a moment that will go down in history, Pope Leo XIV did something that no pope before him dared to do, publicly. He openly admitted that the Church has been holding on to outdated beliefs for far too long, beliefs that no longer resonate with the lives and struggles of millions around the world. He said that the Church must stop fearing change and instead embrace transformation. Not small changes, but deep, fundamental shifts that will redefine how the Church lives, worships, and serves humanity. His words were not vague or hidden in theological jargon. They were clear, direct, and impossible to ignore. For decades, many Catholics have felt a growing distance between their faith and the realities of their daily lives. Issues like gender, equality, social justice, interfaith dialogue, and even the role of women in church leadership have been points of tension and silent frustration. Pope Leo XIV's statement finally brought these issues into the open in a way that demands action. He called for an end to exclusion and judgment, and for a new era of compassion and inclusion. He challenged the Church to listen more and judge less, to be a refuge for all people, no matter who they are or where they come from. This is more than a policy change or a pastoral suggestion. It is a call for a revolution in how the Church understands itself and its mission. He said, the Church must be a living, breathing community that grows and adapts, not a rigid institution stuck in the past. This is something that many Catholics have longed to hear, but never imagined coming from the lips of the Pope himself. The reaction has been explosive. Across the globe, from small parishes in remote villages to the grandest cathedrals in major cities, conversations are happening. Passionate, sometimes heated, sometimes tearful. Families gather to discuss what this means for their faith and their futures. Clergy are scrambling to interpret how these words translate into action. Some feel liberated, as if a great weight has been lifted from their shoulders. Others feel betrayed, afraid that the Church they love is slipping away from them. Inside the Vatican, the atmosphere is charged with anticipation and uncertainty. Behind closed doors, there are those who see the Pope's statement as a prophetic beacon of hope, a necessary awakening to ensure the Church remains relevant and alive in the modern world. Others worry that this path will fracture the Church's unity, risking schisms and conflicts that could divide Catholics for generations. The Pope's words also sent shockwaves through the global media. Headlines screamed about a papal revolution and the Church's crossroads. Commentators debated whether this was a strategic move to modernize the Church or a sincere spiritual awakening. Social media exploded with voices from all sides, young Catholics embracing change and older believers defending tradition. The discussion has spilled over into political arenas, academic forums, and even interfaith gatherings. What makes this statement so historic is not just its content, but its tone. Pope Leo XIV did not speak as a distant authority preaching doctrine from above. He spoke as a humble servant, acknowledging the Church's past mistakes and failures, asking forgiveness and urging everyone to move forward together. He reminded the faithful that faith itself is a journey, one that requires courage, humility, and openness to the unknown. This moment is forcing everyone to ask tough questions. What does it mean to be Catholic today? How can the Church be both faithful to its roots and responsive to the needs of today's world? How do we reconcile centuries of tradition with the urgent calls for justice, equality, and mercy? These questions have no easy answers, and the Pope's statement is a clear invitation to engage with them honestly and courageously. Some fear that the changes hinted at could alter the very teachings that define Catholicism. Others believe that adapting is essential if the Church wants to survive and thrive in the 21st century. This debate will not be settled overnight, but Pope Leo XIV's words have opened the door wide. The Church now stands at a crossroads unlike any it has faced before. The faithful are called not only to listen but to participate, to have open, respectful conversations that bridge divides, rather than deepen them. This is a challenge, but it is also an opportunity for renewal, healing, and growth. Pope Leo XIV's message is a wake-up call, a reminder that the Church is a living body, made up of people who must walk together into the future, even when the path is uncertain. No matter where you stand, one thing is clear: the era of silence and fear is over. Pope Leo XIV's shocking statement is a moment of reckoning and hope. It is a moment that will be studied, debated, and remembered for years to come. It has sparked a fire in the hearts of millions, a fire that could light the way toward a more open, loving, and relevant Church. As this story continues to unfold, we will see how the Church responds, whether it embraces this moment of change or resists it. But one thing is certain: the Church will never be the same again. Pope Leo XIV has spoken, and the world is listening. And yet, there's more to this story than meets the eye. The Pope didn't just speak about broad changes. He also hinted at the need for personal transformation, urging each believer to look inward and examine their own faith and actions. He reminded everyone that the Church is not just an institution, but a community of individuals called to live the gospel in their daily lives. He challenged people to move beyond complacency and engage actively in building a Church that welcomes the marginalized, the broken, and the doubters. This call to personal renewal comes at a time when many feel disillusioned by scandals, divisions, and challenges within the Church. The Pope acknowledged these wounds openly, showing a vulnerability that few leaders ever reveal. He asked for healing and reconciliation, not just from the top down, but from the grassroots level. This honesty has been both comforting and shocking. It is rare to see such transparency from the Vatican. Moreover, Pope Leo XIV spoke of the Church's mission in the world, a mission that must be rooted in service, justice, and peace. He urged the Church to stand firmly with the poor, the oppressed, and those who suffer. He emphasized the importance of environmental stewardship, urging Catholics to care for creation as a sacred trust. This broad vision places the Church at the heart of many global conversations about humanity's future, giving it a renewed purpose that goes beyond internal debates. This vision, while inspiring, is also daunting. Implementing such sweeping changes will not be easy. It will require courage from leaders and believers alike, willingness to engage in difficult dialogues, and the humility to admit mistakes and learn from them. There will be resistance, criticism, and setbacks, but the Pope's message is clear: the future belongs to those willing to embrace change with faith and love. As the world watches